Hello, my name is Nicole Renee. This is the Enlightened Energy channel. My last video that I just did got deleted within about 20 minutes off of YouTube for the content that it held, releasing a combination of ancient forbidden secret knowledge and also current secret forbidden knowledge combined together and regurgitated in a way that was very easily to digest. And it made sense so much that I was blowing my own mind as I was channeling the message last night during the full moon. It was awesome. Like literally I had the video at the full moon. It was just beautiful. And I was channeling this message as I was watching the full moon. It was just beautiful. And they deleted it. So I'm going to change things up a little bit. We'll see if we can bypass a few things. How about that? I am going to do an independent study. And if my hair looks kind of funny, it's because I'm doing a scalp treatment with the formula that I have created to take away trauma off the whole body, including inflammation, disease, cancer, fibromyalgia, bone spurs, fusions, COVID, heavy metals out of the brain, molds, bacteria, fungus. I think that about covered it. One product put as a scalp treatment. I've been doing a scalp treatment once a day. Well, at least 6 days a week I've been doing this. And then afterwards, I manipulate the scalp. Stress, pull, tension, pull. Stress, pull, tension. Twisting, manipulating. And each time, my scalp is getting looser and looser and looser and looser and looser. And as it's doing that, it's correcting my spine, my neck. I had major trauma done to my neck because I wasn't dropped. I rolled off the changing table onto my head at 2 months old, and it, and it rotated everything. And so I've been realigning everything. So I've never known to not have pain in my whole existence of life. And what I have learned from that is that the more pain that you have, it's like a subconscious, you don't know about it, subconscious vibration that pulsates out. Pain, 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 I'm in pain, I'm in pain, because you mentally feel pain, right? Either you're feeling it physically or you're feeling it emotionally or you're feeling it energetically, right? But you're feeling pain. Therefore, when you are not mindful in the moment, your autopilot is manifesting, aka the law of attraction, the law of the universe, because we live in an energetic world. The universal energies is the law of attraction. You can search that. We have over 77,000 chakras on our body pulsating, vibrating, boom, 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 everywhere. And those little chakras that are pulsating out energy vibrate out to this aura around you. There's an aura around you of different colors. And those colors are dictating to you what you're bringing into your future. You can research this also. Therefore, if you are not mindful in the moment, and you're not thinking about all the things you need to get done, you should get done, what you should have done, what you shouldn't have done, and what blah 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 blah, aka the devil. That's all it is. The devil's not a man waiting to take your soul. It's the subconscious eating your soul as you speak. So when you're not mindful in the moment and thinking about how much you love this moment, like I'm having with you, this interaction that I'm having with you personally right now, and I'm looking you right in the eyes. This moment that I'm having with you personally at this moment is special. It's productive. It's meaningful. It's empathic. It's feeling. It's love. Can you feel it? Can you feel it? Because if you cannot feel that, then you're being controlled by the devil, or aka your pain body, aka your subconscious. Every pain that you feel, whether it be scar tissue trauma, a broken bone trauma, cancer trauma, fibromyalgia trauma, bone spurs trauma, emotional trauma from being abused your whole life, energetically trauma from past lives that you've had to endure horrible things from, that you have no clue from, that are energetically imprinted into your aura. Did you know that? Did you know that every past life that you do not clear the karma, you acquire more karma and more karma every life that you don't cure and fix that karma? Did you know that? And when you come back incarnated into the body, you get an auric field around you. And in that auric field is all of the past life trauma that you have not healed. And that past life trauma is infused into your aura. And then guess what happens? As you age and you grow, things happen to you. And it's your job as a conscious creator with God, with your higher self, to heal yourself of the physical, the mental, and the emotional pain that you have endured in this life here, but not only this life, in past lives that you don't even consciously remember. Why do you think you have these weird phobias or these weird things that shouldn't bother you? And you're like, oh my God, why should this bother me? Well, probably because you were drowned in a past life, or you were crucified in a past life, or you were hung in a past life. Or why do you think you have so many suicidal thoughts? Because you have committed suicide so many times and you've had to come back and redo it again. You're like, because you don't realize that by committing suicide, it's like, think of it like a virtual reality game. When you commit suicide, you're like, kill me, boom, okay, do it again. Same body, same thing, same friends, same everything. You got to redo it all over again. But now you got just a little bit more karma. You got to endure to get through that. And guess what? If there's a little part of you that has deja vu, you know what deja vu is? Is when you're like, oh my God, I've been here before. You have. You've done this life here so many times you can't even begin to imagine. Deja vu is just a way of saying, hey, I've been to this checkpoint before. I better shape up or shit's gonna get real. That's all it is. It's like a, from your higher self saying, hey, probably not the right road. Let's just do a little check-in and see how we're feeling. If it don't feel good, don't do it. If it feels good, do it. And if it feels good and you're scared shitless, that's even better. Because then guess what? That little I'm scared to death is your ego. Why should I take 3 years off, sell every horse that I have, down to my last penny to where I'm borrowing money so I don't lose my house? Why would I do that? Why? I didn't know I had cancer. I had no clue. My higher self's like, hey, we need to have a little talk, me and you. And I'm like, what? Not for me. I'm running that way as fast as I could get, right? I'm working out, I'm doing all this kind of stuff. I'm going here, going there, doing that, being busy. I'm just too busy to sit down and heal because I've got to try to find a job. I got to try to find money. I got to try to find blah, 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 blah. And you know what? The more that I tried to do the 3D life of I have to work my ass off every day to try to survive, and therefore I forfeit my health. Well, without health, what do you have, right? I didn't know that. I'm like, what I considered myself was, you know, that poor little dog has been kicked in the corner, like, you know, every day of his life, and he's finally just snapped and he's like, arr! That was me. Because it's like, what do? You know, you can't work. I'm going through a spiritual stigmatic. So, you know, at the time, the last year, I was going through trance visions of past lives of trauma, of me being killed over and over and over and over, and having to see that and having to transmute it and having to feel it, and then having to write thousands of channeled messages of ancient forbidden secrets that nobody even wants to hear. And it's like, why do I even do it? Oh yeah, because nobody's awake yet, and everybody is becoming awake from the big solar flares that we just had, and we're beginning to have right now because we're in Solar Maximus. Okay, I got it. Sorry, I was having a little conversation with my higher self there for a moment. I was like, why are we doing this? Oh yeah, because Solar Maximus is here, and these solar flares are igniting your chakra system and enlightening more of it to wake up more. And so even though we're still talking about the same thing, it's like we understand it more detailed now. And because I understand it more detailed now, I'm calling out the protocol system from the AMA, and the CDC don't like it. And I'm like, what? Dude, I offended the CDC on YouTube. Oh, that's right, you don't like homeopathic. You would rather push your biotoxin bullshit into our arms and say we have to have it. You're gonna get fired from your job if you don't get the COVID shot. And then guess what? You're not gonna get unemployment if you don't get the COVID shot. And then guess what? There's $1 million lotto. You win the $1 million, but you have to get the COVID shot to get the $1 million. Doesn't that sound funny? And then we're gonna let in, during a pandemic, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and thousands of immigrants. We can't even afford to feed our own people. What part of take care of our own first should we not understand? Take care of our own people. Build ourselves up strength-wise so we have the strength that when they try to bomb us, China, next year, 2022, I already predicted this last year, China's going to airstrike every big metropolis and little droplings on the way. Because China knows that we are getting weaker and weaker and weaker and weaker and weaker and weaker, and they have Biden like a little puppet. And it's not even them. It's the society that owns everything else. It's got everybody else like a little puppet, putting everything like a little Rubik's Cube in place for their new little world order thing that they're trying to bring out. Socialism at its greatest. Everybody line up for your check from the government, and everybody gets a little square plot of ground. It don't matter how rich you were, you're all going to have the same amount. You're going to have the same amount of ground, you're going to have the same amount of money you get from the government. You got to live off the government, you can't do anything, you can't fly anywhere, you just got to stay put. And then you're gonna milk that shit in your system all the time. More shots, more shots, more shots. You gotta get this, you gotta get this, gotta get this. And we're just like, ugh, wonder where the zombie apocalypse is. Well, it's right now. Do you know what it's like going out there and having conversations with people right now? It's like the more shots they get, the more, it's like, I don't know if it's that or if it's the thermometer to the head. I scare everybody when they go to try to take my temperature, and I'm like, ha! And they're like, whoa! Wrist, please. They're like, what? Wrist. You're a nurse, you're in a hospital, don't you know about health? You have a third eye right there pulsating, and when you slam that thing right here with the thought of, oh my God, are you sick? That's a negative vibration, plus slamming your third eye closed, it displaces the energy, plus triggering a laser that you don't even see to your pineal gland, which is your inner sight. They're deadening your feelings, you're deadening your inner sight, so you can't see any of this coming. You're like, oh, when's the next shot? Can we line up for that too? Okay, next week, I'll just camp out and wait. It's okay. I don't have, anything else to do. I'm not trying to make fun of anybody. I'm just like, I don't understand. I was having a conversation yesterday. This poor man lost his mother to the same cancer that I have, breast cancer. That, after a biopsy, guess what happened after a biopsy? It spread. Then guess what? They cut it out and they did chemo, they did all the things like they always do. And then guess what? It came back even worse, got into her lymph glands, had 3 spots in her spine, had bone cancer from it because it all spread after the surgery. It's like, I'm thinking in my head, yeah, that makes sense, because when I had my hysterectomy, when I was 30, I was full of fibroid tumors. Well, after the surgery, guess what? 2 years later, I had to go in for another surgery for a 7-inch fibroid tumor that had found its way on my colon. I'm like, how did that get there? It must have been from the surgery. I'm like, really? Guess what? Another 2 years later, another freaking surgery. Another fibroid tumor. I had another one in 2018. I had it ultrasounded. They wanted to cut it out. It was right where my cervix should have been. And I said no. And the CAT scan, as I did the CAT scan just about a little over a month ago, shows no tumor. I have cured that tumor. That tumor that I had when I had my ultrasound in 2018, it was a 4-inch tumor. And I had just had another CAT scan and it's gone. And I did not have surgery. I've cured that one. I've cured 2 bone spurs on my spine. And they don't like it when I say cure. But you know what? I cured it myself. When has the pharmaceutical things, any of them, ever cured anything? His mother died horribly of bone cancer. And get this. When he called to have the cops show up after she died and say that she died, they had to call the judge. The judge called the doctor, and the doctor's like, where's the drugs? Where's the drugs? And they had to get a court order to get just the drugs out of the house first before they could even check on the body. One shot alone that she had, he said, was $197,000. One shot. Total, he said, and this woman was poor, poor, poor. Total in her house. You know how much money in pharmaceutical drugs that she had in her house? $6 million worth of pharmaceutical medication in her house when she died horribly from bone cancer that she got from the surgery and the biopsy. And you can't tell me the insurance companies aren't in this. The people that own everything govern the rules of the insurance company, the AMA, which is the doctors, their protocol. They own the chemtrails that dump all the biohazardous chemical waste that I see them drop every day. I have videos of they're crisscrossing. And then by the time they're done, it's like this blanket of cloud of just biochemical hazard waste they're dumping down on the big metropolises and the surrounding areas. You know why? Because it's nano-sized particles, and when it gets on your skin, it goes right into your system, goes right into your brain, fills your brain full of heavy metals. And then they can dump whatever COVID, they can dump mutated COVID strands, they could dump Lyme disease, they can dump whatever they want. And it gets into your system, and then guess what? You got to go to the pharmaceutical and the medical to get cured, but they don't ever cure you. They give you a freaking pill or a shot that just masks it. And then that creates more things that you have go wrong. Like, oh, well, you need another pill for that, and you need another pill for that. The next thing you know, you're reading this sports magazine, right? Fitness and health. Every 10 pages is a 3-page ad of pharmaceutical. 1 page of how wonderful it feels to be on their drugs, and then 2 pages of side effects that you never read. You're like, I'm so focused on how wonderful they look. That's how I want to feel because I'm so depressed in my life. I'm not even going to look at that. I just want to feel like that. $6 million of pharmaceutical drugs, and they cared about that before they cared about her first. They couldn't get the drugs out fast enough and before they could look at her. That woman didn't have anything, and she had $6 million worth of drugs in her house. Think about that. That's the insurance company. It's a big laundering money system. It's like a hamster wheel of laundering money. Launder. And we're like, more please. More please. More please. I say, nay, no more. Get off the hamster wheel. I got off. I'm ready to show you guys how to get off this hamster wheel. And it's how to heal your physical body, your mental body, and your energetic body. Because your energetic body, your energy that you don't see around you, hinders you way more than you know. And every pain that you feel physically is a lower vibration holding you down into those lower vibrational, when you're talking the law of attraction, and all your chakras are pulsating out. I want this, I want this, I want this, I want this, I want this. And your brain's like, I want peace and love, peace and love. And your body's like, I want pain, I want pain, I want pain, I want pain. And you're like, I want peace and love. It's like contradicting. You have to heal the pain body, the pain. You have to get rid of the physical pain to step out of that negative drawing life that you're drawing into you every day. I hope that makes sense. And I apologize if I came off a little harsh or whatever my words. I'm slightly autistic with 100% Asperger's. So therefore, I just say it how it is. And sometimes it comes off as I have no feelings. And that's absolutely zero true. I have more feelings than you know. I am a spiritual stigmatic. I'm energetic feeling being. You have no idea. I'm out here grounding like right now, crazy, because I'm feeling everybody's like, whew. So when I channel, I just get out of the way. So a lot of times it comes off monotone as harsh, but it's not meant to be. It's meant out of pure love. I'm just trying to help people understand that there's more to life out there than going to the doctor all the time and feeling bad every time. This formula that I was graciously given to by my higher self, my higher guidance, I meditate. I do walking meditations all day long. I'm in meditation pretty much nonstop. And so therefore I'm channeling nonstop. I was given the guidance to look into this. It's not just one thing, it's a multiple things, but the one thing is like the active ingredient that makes everything just work. You can take the one product alone and still get the results. It's going to take longer. But the way I have designed the system with the formula that I have, taken it internally with the concoction that I have, and topically as a scalp treatment, you can get rid of every physical ailment that you have. I'm looking for 10 test subjects. I don't want to get too bogged down because I'm extremely busy as it is right now. I'm looking for 10 test subjects with different issues. I'd like to find somebody with brain cancer so I can work with this scalp formula that I have. So brain cancer. Anybody that is at their last, there's nothing else they can do, that's who I want to talk to. When you are at your last resort and you've given up, or you just absolutely do not want to go to the doctor and get chemo or get what they're trying to feed you, that line of BS that they're trying to feed you, that surgery is going to cure it, or their pills are going to cure it, that's who I want to talk to. And I'm going to pick out 10 people that I feel that can really give this a shot, that they're really wanting to save their life. Not somebody that's going to take it and just use it for a week and be like, whatever. I mean, I'm talking somebody that's really serious about this, like I was. I was looking at some serious, angry cancer that was spreading throughout my whole system. And I stopped it like that. And in 1 month, in 8 days, I took a tumor that was that big. It's gone. The breast tumor itself, they took the biopsy. And when they took that biopsy needle in, the whole line, you can almost see it, that whole line where that needle, that was cancerous. They call it a satellite arm. No, it's from the needle track of the biopsy. Then on the end of that, where they pulled the needle out, there was a clump of cells on the inside of the skin that grew into a tumor that was that big and pushing up. Its indentation now, it's gone. And I've been on this for 1 month and 8 days. I was starting to get on, I started to use it 4 days before my CT scan. My CT scan showed it at the biggest it was instead of my ultrasound. And now, 1 month, 8 days later, that one tumor is completely gone. And the needle track that was hard, that was growing out the satellite arm, is bendable, pliable, and flexible now. It's taken all the inflammation, all the cancer, everything out of it. This breaks the blood-brain barrier. So, therefore, like their nano-sized particles that they release on us for the chemtrails goes in through the brain and works through the brain. That's the best way to get you sick. Because if you don't feel good, you're mentally going to tell yourself you don't feel good, and then, it's you. Whatever you speak into the world, you create. We're conscious creators. We just don't know it. Our rights have been stripped away from us. We don't even know it. Every word out of our mouth is a spell or a prayer or whatever you want to call it. But whatever word out of our mouth and whatever thought we're thinking, we're creating more than you know. And the more power that you know you have in your words, the faster you create. So the more power you know that you have in your words, and you know how strong of a powerful creator you are, and you know that every word that you speak is a spell or a prayer in creating your future next step, you're consciously being more mindful about how you think and what you speak out into the universe, or to friends, or to your family, or to anybody else. Even the fact of you talking bad about somebody else, that's going to set a negative energy out into the universe, and somebody else is going to get that and talk bad about you. It may not even be the same person. It's going to be somebody else. But that's just how the law of universe gets. It's duality. What you give out, you're going to get back. It may not be from that person, it may be from other things down the road, but you're going to get it back. It's called karma. So when you understand the laws of karma and the laws of the universe, you understand that you better be watching your words. You better watch your thoughts, because the more negative you think, the more negative you create. So it's hard to get ahead of that freight train of a mind of some people's, because I have Asperger's, so it's just like my mind's like nonstop, right? So I have to get ahead of that freight train and say, slow that down. No negative thoughts, only positive thoughts. And it's like, then it's just like boom, 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 boom. My life just goes boom. But you have to get rid of the pain. And that's where this comes into play. Now for the energetic part of it, the tantric mudra system that I downloaded or intuitively was guided to do, like I'm stigmatic, so I just surrender, get out of the way, and I'm put into a certain mudra and locked into it and then given the reasons why and everything else. And therefore, the system that I created with my higher self is one that we used to do back in the ancient beginning of the Venetian days when we first became here on this planet. It was to keep the planet balanced in more of a feminine type nature energy instead of this rageful masculine energy that we're in now that just tears the planet up and has bloodshed everywhere. So when you add the tantric yogic system, you also understand how to engage your bindu chakra, which is where your crown, not your crown, but your soft spot in the back of your head. That is your bindu chakra, and that is what we call the portal of God. I can teach you how to engage that and engage the nectar of life, because when you engage the nectar of life, your whole body just vibrates. I literally, when you make that, it's an audible tone and it's uncontrollable. If you try to control it, it's not the nectar of life. It comes automatic. You can't control it. And when you do that, your whole body vibrates. Literally, my toes, my butt cheeks even vibrate. It's crazy. And it's awesome because there ain't nothing in the body that can blast, that is not good for your body when your body is vibrating light. So when you're talking scar tissue, it's awesome because when you take this formula on an empty stomach, it's got an oil base, so you drink it down on an empty stomach and it coats your esophagus, down your intestinal system, your everything, and then it expands out and goes into your bloodstream, into your bones, into your tendons, your muscles, nerves, everything as it expands out. And then about 30 minutes later, you go and you do this tantric yoga system and vibrate. And as you stretch, you vibrate. And I'm telling you what, you get to the end of the stretch, and you're like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna pass out. It hurts so bad I can't go anymore. And you're like doing the vibration. And then all of a sudden, like in the second or third, it's just all of a sudden, it's just like, it either pops and releases, but the more you take it, actually now, it doesn't even pop now. And now it just like slowly releases and that full stretch comes out and you're like, wow, I didn't know I could do that. How I see it in my third eye, as it's happening, is that your muscle fibers, your nerves, your tendons, and bone and everything have displaced lymphatic fluid trapped in it and on it. From bruises, from surgeries, from accidents, from anything. Every time you have a bruise or anything, the lymphatic fluid is mixed with blood and then it just disappears. Well, unless you do the work and heal that and get rid of the trauma, emotionally, because there's emotional trauma hooked onto it too, which vibrates out more pain that you don't even know about. That's a whole nother story that we can get into later. But you have the emotional trauma that's already subconscious. That's what we call the pain body. So you have that trapped in the muscles, the trapped lymphatic fluid trapped in the muscles, the bone, strapped on the bone. So you take on your shin and you go up and down your shin, you feel those little bumps about like that. That's trapped lymphatic fluid from back in your shin like so many times, right? Now, between what I'm doing, all those are disappearing and my leg is like smooth like a baby. And same with my neck, all that scar tissue and stuff that I had from all my injuries, it's like smooth muscle like a baby now. So what happens is as we age, if we don't heal, that trapped lymphatic fluid becomes crystallized, is how I see it in my eye, in my third eye. And so as it crystallizes, when you're stretching, it hurts and you can't get full mobility out of that. So that makes sense, right? So you have muscle fibers with trapped, crystallized, hard lymphatic fluid in the muscle fibers, tendons, and joints, right? And so as you try to stretch, it hurts. And you're like, crack, 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 right? And you can't get it. That's the crystallized, trapped lymphatic fluid. This product after well, not even 6 weeks. It's just like 4 weeks, literally. Well, after a week I was seeing a difference. After 4 weeks I was like, wow. And this is like a month and 8 days, and I'm like, holy cow. What it's doing is it is softening all of that trapped crystallized lymphatic fluid, for one. Then it's the combination with the organic MSM and the nano-sized vitamin C means that this product takes everything into the muscles, joints, tendons, fibers, and everything. It takes that vitamin C, MSM, and you do it on an empty stomach, it takes it right in. So you're doing that right before you stretch. And then when you stretch and vibrate, it's just like, and your body, it's like all of that trapped lymphatic fluid is softened, and as you stretch, it's released out into the body. Then I take Dead Sea salt baths every night to get rid of the lymphatic, because I'm healing cancer, you know. So I do Dead Sea salt baths every night, and then I also have a beamer, which is pulse electromagnetic therapy. And I sleep on that every night and do the sleep program to help with the lymphatic system, because I am ridding my body of all of the scar tissue, all of the trauma from head to toe right now. I've never felt so amazing in my life. I've had 2 broken ankles, another one's been fractured, and they've both been discombobulated, and then I had surgery again on the right one again. And now they're so pliable and loose with no scar tissue, no lumps, no bumps, no nothing. Even where the cast was all full of like the scar tissue and the lumps and bumps. It's just soft muscle now. I've figured out a way to be able to take all of that, all of your muscles, your joints, your tendons, your ligaments, and everything back to homeostasis. And that's what we're getting down to right now. Because when you can take your body back to homeostasis, you're not going to get sick. You're not going to get disease. Therefore, guess what? No more pharmaceutical. It goes away. That's supply and demand. And they can't make money on homeopathic. The reason the AMA was formed in the late 1800s was to kick homeopathic out, because they wanted to dominate the planet. And if you don't understand that, go watch my last video. I'll even try to add it in the description box, and you'll understand, because I go clear back to the beginning of the history of this planet. That's what I get for being stigmatic. I understand this. I've seen it. I've visualized it through my third eye. I've been in the mudras. I've been in the poses. I've seen the chaotic and the deaths and everything. I've seen myself die so many times you can't even imagine. I've had to come back for that. I've seen a lot. Going through what I've gone through alone for the last 3 years. To be able to figure out how to save myself. Because if I would have just done what I always done, which was what I was going to do, drive down here with 14 head of horses, some of the top best horses in the country, right? Come in here and try to just dominate. I would have got sideswiped with cancer. And it would have taken me down, because I wouldn't have been prepared mentally, physically, none, energetically. But because every time I tried to make myself get a horse or work or do something, something came in and crashed in my life that made me sit down and not be able to work. I've been not made to work. Like every time I try, like the universe like shakes me like, you sit your butt down. I'm like, I'm so bored. I'm a Leo. I want to get out of the house. Please. I didn't know what I was doing. I was like, what am I supposed to be doing? Yeah, I'm channeling. Yeah, I'm getting information, but I'm like, bah. Nobody wants to hear it anyway. It's like, what am I doing? Oh yeah, I got to heal myself. I didn't realize that. So once I finally got diagnosed with it, as soon as I got diagnosed, it hit me like that. And then next thing I know, I'm just like, they're stabbing it with a biopsy needle 4 times. And I told everybody that I was slightly autistic. I'm like, hey, I'm slightly autistic, so I'm a little nervous, right? So sometimes when you say things, I might go, you know, because I'm like, eh. And I also told everybody that I'm trying to heal this on my own. I told everybody that. And the next thing out of their mouth was, well, we need a biopsy. I'm like, oh, okay, you know, is that gonna hurt it? No, we just need to see what it is. It's just protocol. I'm like, oh, okay. Like they didn't even hear me say I'm gonna try to heal this on my own, or I'm gonna heal this on my own. And then when I went to get the biopsy, before they did that, I told them the same thing. And then they're pulling the needle out. And I'm like, isn't this going to make it angry? No, this is protocol. This is protocol. I'm like, but I'm going to try to heal this on my own. So then after, or when they're doing it, I was looking at that and all I could see her was just stabbing it over and over. And I'm like, that's going to make it angry. And 4 months later, it did. And they're arguing with me right now saying that biopsies don't spread cancer. But in the next breath, they're saying, well, we have to do chemo to shrink it down, to cut it out. And then we have to do chemo afterwards so we can kill all the cancer cells if they float around. So you're telling me that if you biopsy it, you spread the cancer, because I have proof that it does. Every time you poke a needle in and pull it out, those cells are on that needle. Obviously, I have proof. Every time you cut around it, because it's hooked up to blood, you have blood go into the system, cancer spread. So they pretty much just opened their mouth and inserted their own foot, in my perspective. I'm like, you're telling me that biopsies don't spread cancer, and then you're telling me that surgeries don't spread cancer, but then you're telling me in the same fact that you have to do all this stuff because that way you don't spread it and you get all the cancer later. But then years down the road, you have to come back for bone cancer that it, seeded in your bone. And I don't understand. If you can take an internal product and a topical product, even a spot product. I've been putting a spot over the tumor and it's just been shrinking it like crazy. If you can do that, and put it back to a natural state. They were even doing studies. I researched this. You have to kind of go underground to find these because the FDA tries to keep it away from you. They were doing studies. They were taking MSM, chemo, and this product in a shot and just injecting it into the cancer tumor itself. And every single time it was taking it back to a natural state. And it wasn't the chemo and it wasn't the MSM. It was this product. And the FDA, they've been trying to push it through for 20 years. And they won't let it go through because it cures everything. And it's a natural product. But even with a natural product, they label it in a way that you're like, I'm not going to touch it because I don't know what to, anytime there is anything on the internet about it, there's a big statement at the bottom. The FDA doesn't support this, and this could cause blah 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 and make you scared of it, right? And once you actually step back and see the bigger picture, it's like, oh, okay. So it's out there for you to see, but they're going to put that statement on there for you to like, oh, I shouldn't do that because I'm going to believe the doctors and I'm going to believe the AMA and I'm going to believe the FDA over, anything else because, they know best. They've been into, it's not the doctor's fault. They have to follow a protocol. That's what they've learned. The AMA is the ones that are at fault, the ones that do the protocol, because they're forcing the doctors. That's why they formed in the AMA in the 1800s, is as soon as they did, anybody that practiced homeopathic, they would lose their license for life. And they still do this. If you say you want to do it homeopathic, a doctor will not touch you. Trust me, I know. I was turned off by every doctor. And you can't even go to the emergency room to get an ultrasound to see what it's doing. They say, no, you need to have a doctor do that. And I'm like, okay, but no doctor will see me because I want to do it homeopathically. So what do you do? The insurance companies won't pay for anything homeopathic. Everybody is forcing you to go allopathic, which is pharmaceutical. The bubonic plague was cured homeopathically. They were using essential oils in the streets to cure the bubonic plague. The allopathic had a 29% death rate, and the homeopathic had a 1% death rate during the bubonic plague. Look that up. The only way that we're going to get out of this, that we're in a shithole of a system right now, and it's going to get ugly if we don't try to fix this. And it comes down to the law of attraction. What you think about, you bring about. What are you focusing on? Start focusing on the good. Start focusing on health. Start focusing on healing. Start focusing on love. Start focusing on commitment. Start focusing on nurturing things. Instead of thinking everybody's out after everybody, think we're all in this together. We're all in this together. And therefore we should help everybody. Everybody needs to know the truth. So that's what I'm doing, is I'm putting together this formula, and what I'm going to do is I can have it, all the ingredients shipped to me, except for one, through Amazon, which I can get within one day. It's awesome living next to Dallas. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to peel the label. That way you have no clue what I'm giving you. I will have you sign a non-disclosure form, and then also another form for release liability. And I'm going to do a heavy screening, and I'm going to choose 10 people. And I want to get, brain cancer, different kind of diseases. I'd like to get somebody that is also paralyzed, because inflammation. Inflammation's a killer. And I want to get 10 people that are really dedicated to changing their health and changing their life. And so if that's you, then figure out how to get a hold of me. You can PM me on Facebook. That's about the best way to get a hold of me. Or you can get a hold of me here on YouTube. But we need to make a change. We need to make a change. If we don't, it's gonna sideswipe all of us so fast. It's gonna be like, I don't know if you ever watched like Stephen King, The Stand. It's like that, in a way, metaphorically. The good, the evil. And the good can prevail. And the good will prevail. I will make sure of that. I understand now why I've had to go through what I've had to go through, because I was strong enough to get through it, figure it out, and figure out a way to bring it out. Everybody now, even the people that are screaming about like the horse warmers, I started using the Fenben for about 6 weeks prior, after I was like in February. I did it for about 6 weeks, and I used to be a TAC manager type thing in the horse department, feed store, and would talk to the reps quite a bit about the wormers, because I was always into health for my horses. And I never felt comfortable enough even giving my horse the daily dewormer. And the main wormers I would only give like once every 4 months if I had to. I would try to use like diatomaceous earth and other things that would be a natural dewormer. Because the paste was so toxic. And you don't even like to give the ivermectin to baby foals, but we'll take it. Like, I'm not gonna get COVID. No, but my liver's gonna shut down in about 10 years, if that, unless you take more. Because Fenben, all those wormers, they're gonna strip the parasites from you, they're gonna strip the toxins from you, and then after about 6 weeks, they're gonna start working on your organs. And then if you don't rotate or not rotate dewormers, but just rotate, get off of it, and then get back on it, it's all it is about getting rid of the toxins in your system and upping your vibration, upping your system. And that's the same thing that I'm doing, but I'm doing it homeopathically, because this same thing, well, actually, there's no comparison actually to the wormers, to what I'm using, because mine breaks the blood-brain barrier. It's homeopathic. It's inexpensive. There's tons of it. And it's a free radical scavenger, which means you can swallow it, and wherever you have issues, it's going to go right there. Wherever you have inflammation, it's going to go right there. Wherever it's this sickness and disease, it's going to go right there. Wherever there's cancer, it's going to go right there. I don't care. It's like a little hungry Pac-Man. It's going wherever it needs to go. And all horse wormers is just a poison to get rid of the worms. After the worms are gone, then it just poisons your body. think that's about it. I hope this one doesn't get deleted. I tried to make it a little bit less informational than the last one. So, if you're interested in changing your health, get a hold of me, because I'm ready to help change the world. This formula, I truly believe I'm going to leave a legacy with this, and I truly believe this will change the health industry as we know it. Unless you're absolutely allergic to this one product, it's going to help everybody. Even my little dog, I've been giving it to him topically on his spine and also internally. Huge results. And he's 18. So animals, all animals, people, it's great. So, all right. God bless everybody.